In my previous video, I talked about why I'm getting the iPhone X. But after watching that video, I feel that I left some loose end there, which I should tie up. One point that I should have mentioned in that video is that this may very well be my last iPhone. Yeah, I know that's strong, but let's talk about it. Ever since Steve Jobs passed away, Apple has been disappointing me a lot. Even if I'm an early buyer, I order my devices as soon as they are available for pre-order. For example, iPad Pro. This is the third iteration of iPad Pro that I'm using. I bought the 12.9 version, then I moved to 9.7 version, and now I'm 10.5 version. Though I love this tablet, but sorry, Tim Cook, it's not a laptop replacement, and it will never be as long as you continue to use iOS on it. I use a laptop for creativity, not for consumption. So that's one disappointment. Apple Pencil, while I was excited and I have one, has failed to become my daily driver. You cannot even use it when you're charging it, and there's not much you can do with it. On the contrary, I love the S Pen on my latest Note 8. I have never been a Note 8 user, but I love that S Pen because when I'm doing interviews with people, I used to use my iPad or a notebook to take notes so that I can ask further questions, follow-up questions. Now I can just pull out my note and take notes quickly, and they are there on the device, so I can access them very easily. I defended Apple originally when they removed the headphone jack from iPhone, but it was a jackass move. I realized it only later that I use my phone a lot for my work, where I interview a lot of people over phone, whether it's on a cellular network or I use Hangout, and I of course record those interviews so I can get them transcribed for the story. But iPhone doesn't have a headphone jack, so, and I should not even get started about the iPhone battery life. So you have to keep the phone charged if you are in a 1 hour long conversation, but you cannot do that. So you have to get all those dongles and all those connectors. It's a big mess. And especially if you're traveling, I recall when I was in Barcelona and my flight got cancelled and I was talking to the agent. My phone was low on battery. I was using the Bluetooth connectivity. I needed the cable, so that the wired headphones, so that I can talk to the person without wasting battery on Bluetooth. But I did not have that adapter, so it was really a painful experience. I'm so very happy that the Note does not have that problem. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that one after other, Sir Johnny Ive has been disappointing me. I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, you cannot use the magic mouse when you are charging it. And now things are getting worse with the iOS 11, and iPhone X is actually compounding those problems. Since I have all these iOS devices, what's really sad is that each of these devices now have their own UI, and you have to learn different gestures, different tricks on each device. For example, iPad Pro, it doesn't come with Force Touch, so you cannot use the same gesture that you use on your iPhone to open applications or access other features from applications. It has a home button, so of course the whole UI works differently. Then you get iPhone X, which does not have the home button. So you have, like, a lot of devices, like iPad does not have the Force Touch. So you have a different UI for the iPhone 8 and earlier, which have a home button. Then you have a different UI for the iPad, and then you have a different UI for iPhone X or iPhone 10. No surprises, Apple doesn't make any jokes on the fragmentation of Android because their own platform, their own devices are getting fragmented. And I think things are going to get even worse than they are now. And one of the biggest annoying thing of iPhone 10 is that notch on the top. I cannot even imagine what kind of pain you're going to experience when you're watching a movie in a plane and it cuts a lot of scene there. It's an eyesore. I really don't know what Sir Ivy is thinking. These are very poor decisions made by Apple. And don't even get me started what will happen when you turn the phone in the landscape mode and you are trying to read something or you're trying to work on a document, or what happens to your address book. So is it like going to cut the names and going to cut the text, or it will flow like a river? I have no idea. I have no idea. And that's not even the beginning of the problem. With iOS 11, those two buttons that you find, one is Bluetooth and one is for the wireless. So you know, whenever I travel or I'm outside and I don't need Wi-Fi or I don't use Bluetooth, so I turn them off so that I can conserve and save some batteries. Those are fake buttons. Forget about Trump's complaint about fake news. Apple has introduced fake wireless connectivity buttons with iOS 10. So when you click on those buttons, it actually doesn't turn the hardware off. It only disables the connectivity. I checked on my iPad Pro and that is the situation. So I have to go in the settings menu and then turn the Bluetooth and wireless off manually. That's going to create a new fake gate or button gate controversy for Apple, because a lot of people might think that they have turned these two hardware to save batteries and they'll find that their batteries are drained within an hour or so. And it's also a privacy risk. For example, if you're going to a conference like DEF CON or whatever it is, or and you thought, I mean, okay, you're not that stupid if you're going to those conferences to know how your phone operates, but you might be under the impression that your wireless and Bluetooth is off, but it's actually on. So I think there's a lot of problem with this decision that once again Sir Ivy has made. iPhones are not known for their batteries. I can vouch for it because I have both Samsung devices and Apple devices, and I really don't know what's going to happen with the battery life with that massive Superman Retina display and all those fake hardware buttons that do not actually turn your wireless chips off. So I am not really sure that users will be happy with iPhone X. And if you really look closely at, I was comparing since the device is not out. So my only option is to actually see the specs that are available. So if you really look closely at iPhone 8, iPhone 7 Plus, S, or iPhone X, there is not much difference between these three devices other than the new A11 biometric chip or bionic, whatever they're calling it, chip they're using, and Face ID on iPhone X. Everything, of course, it's using OLED display, but other than that, there is no difference as such, whether it's camera or any other hardware specs or any other features. The only difference you see is in the UI, which is like fragmented UI. So the big question is that when there is nothing so great about iPhone X, when the when the hardware is almost identical, and you're going to make a hole as big as $1,100 in your pocket, why am I still buying it? So the first thing is that as a journalist, I like to know where one of the most valuable consumer electronics company is going with their products, even if that knowledge comes at a price tag of $1,100. The second thing is that it's kind of personal that I like Apple Watch more than my Samsung Gear, because Samsung Gear Watch uses Tizen and they don't have a lot of applications. So I use Uber and all those applications on my Apple Watch easily. So I will stick with Apple Watch, and to be able to use it, I would like to keep an iOS device around either way. So, but the biggest reason I was excited about is augmented reality. Um, all these companies, Google and Samsung and Facebook, they have been trying, but they are kind of stuck in that lame virtual reality world. I'm kind of getting depressed because I was expecting, that you will have a totally new user interface where you wear a mixed reality glass, like Google Glass or something like that, so that, you can open a, document file in front of you, get the work done, close the file, and you don't have to sit in front of computer. But they are going in a totally different direction. Apple has showed some promises with augmented reality. Some of the applications that I've seen are very promising, though I'm not very sure how far Apple will take it. Just look at Siri. Siri was the one that brought virtual assistants to smartphones, but still very lame. So I am really not very convinced that it will be a very promising augmented reality platform. So the question is why I am buying it. Because if you look at it, all of that, including augmented reality, can be done on the iPhone 8 or plus. So why I'm burning a hole in my pocket to get this device? My reasoning is that if I'm going to spend something in the ballpark of $1,000, let's get the best device that they have to offer. I also want to try myself the bezel-less with the annoying notch a screen display to see myself how it feels, because I really don't trust, and you should not trust me also. You should go and try it yourself. I don't want to hear someone else's opinion, what they feel about it. And I don't want to just walk into an Apple store and just play with it for 5 minutes. I want to use it in my day-to-day life to actually see how it really works. So that is one of the reason I may be getting, not I maybe, I will be getting iPhone X. But I also feel sad to say that iPhone X or iPhone 10 is not the phone that deserves to be called the anniversary edition phone. This is one of the most disappointing product that ever came out of Apple's barn, despite all that hype and all those expectations. I was expecting something really good from Apple. I was expecting, they'll just blow everybody's mind with augmented reality and with, really smart screen. But no, this is not a Steve Jobs Apple. This is Tim Cook and Sir Ivy's Apple, and it disappoints. So the bottom line is that while I will be pre-ordering the iPhone X, if the notch is the direction where Apple is heading, if $1,100 is going to be their base price, I fear this might be my last iPhone. However, if they keep X series separate and they still maintain the notchless device and a more affordable device, then I may stick around. Other than that, not. Otherwise, I think, as disappointing as it might sound, but it looks like that would be my last iPhone. Let me know, what do you think about it? Just be civil, just be constructive, and share your comments below. And if you like this channel, as usual, my request is to subscribe to it and share with your friends. Mostly I do the Linux coverage, but I am also expanding, so I'll be talking about augmented reality and mixed reality and virtual reality and games and new products. So just keep an eye. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.